I just finished watching Browns Titans, and Deion Sanders should be so proud of Shedeur. Not just because of the way he's played, but because of the way he's conducted himself, with the level of career adversity he's faced already.
I've been this way. So this is God showing a lot of people who I am. You know, a lot of circumstances, you know, what sometimes get you mentally not in your best place, you know, and you got to find your happy place. You got to find that it for you. So I think that's kind of I've been praying and doing a lot, you know, talking to God this week in general to get back to that place, you know, to get back there. So, yeah, it's him. He the one did it for me.
You may believe that you understand what actually transpired during Shedeur Sanders' draft process, but you have only scratched the surface. Ryan Clark just poured dynamite into the NFL debate, and the ensuing explosion revealed far more than anyone had anticipated. It was never about pocket presence or arm strength readings. This whole incident was a well-planned hit operation, as Ryan Clark made evident. Surprisingly, Shedeur Sanders wasn't even the target of it.
Shedeur more than I've ever seen any undrafted guy or fifth-round guy on social media in the history of Instagram, Threads, Twitter, X, whatever it is. Like, those dudes are everywhere. And they caught some of Deion's strays, right? Deion had a level of greatness that was untouchable, right? Deion could say, yeah, I'm not interviewing with these people because I'm not going to be there in the draft. Deion could say, hey, I already ran 140. I ain't effing with no more of this testing because y'all already know I'm top 5 and it ain't tripping. Watch the film, know who I am. That's the difference between, I think, Deion and who his kids were. And then I think Deion's approach to it made other people, Deion's fame, right? Deion's success, Deion's ability to one day be a head coach in the league. Also, Deion's ability and what he's done in navigating the present, right? When we talk about college of his children, and now
Coach Prime was the actual goal and the renowned tale untouchable career by Deion Sanders. The man who was always in charge of the plot suddenly lost control over how it was conveyed for the first time. And this is the reality that turned everything upside down. Shedeur Sanders was never the issue. The weapon was him. This quarterback played behind offensive lines that were unable to stop the Colorado wind, persevered under 6 different coordinators, and consistently improved. After dominating Jackson State, he entered Boulder and quickly returned to his previous level.
The tap let out à scream, point the production let out à yell.
His game never faltered in any way. However, football ceased to importance as soon as draft season started. All of a sudden, it wasn't about processing speed, footwork, or throws. The sound became loud and nasty character issues, inquiries about his personality, and ambiguous remarks regarding his level of preparation. It has nothing to do with football at all. It all had to do with taking aim at Coach Prime through his son, the one thing that affects fathers the most. Then came the rumors, the alleged worries, the rumors that Shedeur was wearing headphones, and the little assertions that were circulating without any evidence or proof. Nothing that could be verified, but also nothing that could be categorically refuted. For those who were paying attention, it became clear at that point. It wasn't sloppy. This design was flawless. Ryan Clark called it out right away. He claimed that all of the stories had the same plot.
And I'm like, man, if he doesn't play well, I don't think they'll give him another chance. Not based on what I believe he deserved, but how they treated him. But he played well, and he made big plays, things Dylan Gabriel didn't do, things Joe Flacco didn't do, and he earned himself another opportunity. And in this chance this weekend against the #1 overall pick, he outplayed him. There are 4 throws in that game, 2 to Fanning, 1 to Jerry Jeudy, another to David Njoku in the end zone, that are 4 of the best plays I saw all day. What I love, though, is that the media has set him up so many times to say something negative about his team, something negative about his coach, and he just refuses. And I get it. Everybody's all up in the uproar because of the 2-point conversion. And you may forget, he was there, the 2-point conversion previously, and he dropped the football on a snap. But still, he just never said nothing. He just kept working, and he earned the right to start the rest of the season.
Claims that were unsupported by evidence and that no one could independently confirm. A covert effort based more on smoke than facts. It wasn't just random noise. This was a tactic. Critics changed their focus when they learned they couldn't criticize the production, attack the tape, or alter the statistics. Whispers from the characters became rumors. Concerns evolved from rumors. NFL teams were suddenly under pressure to look at matters unrelated to football. This is the bit that shocked everyone, though. Shedeur Sanders was never the subject of this. In a fight that he did not initiate, he suffered collateral damage. He wasn't the intended victim. He was the route. Coach Prime was the true goal. The stories surrounding Shedeur were deliberately constructed to deliver blows that went beyond football and into Deion Sanders' private life. Old grudges, old bitterness.
I actually like his journey, because his journey showed how he was raised. Let us know that his father should be proud, with work ethic, with ambition, with confidence, with professionalism, and he's needed all of those things to get to this point. But what he's shown you is he should have been drafted higher. He should have been treated better, and you could have built a year around Shedeur Sanders. Now he left y'all no choice.
The new generation is being used as a weapon by old foes. And it did work for the first time in his larger-than-life career. This was no longer about assessing a quarterback. It has to do with managing perception. The aim was accomplished when people began discussing vibes instead of throws. That's how stories change without the facts ever shifting. The initial quietness of the pushback was what made it even worse. Nobody wanted to speak it aloud first. However, the pattern became evident as soon as Ryan Clark drew back the curtain. This wasn't criticism of football. Under the cover of assessment, this was personal warfare. And Shedeur Sanders continued to act in the same way throughout it all. Working, competing, and getting better. Despite conflicting goals and swirling storylines, his game remained impeccable, sharp, and unquestionable.
When you see your colleagues or your peers going in on you, man, like, how does that make you feel?
No idea, man. You have no idea. We've always been in front of the camera, so they know how to navigate. They know how to handle themselves.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna catch them in no foolery and no mess. You're not. When you sit up there and say something like he went in a meeting unprepared, like, dude, Shedeur Sanders, who's had 6 different coordinators, who has still functioned and went up, leveled up every time we brought somebody new in, and you're gonna tell me he
Every situation.
You're gonna tell me he had on headphones.
So you a dog, your kid's a dog, and dogs gonna always rise to the top. You know what I mean? That's what I believe. You know what I mean? Then we talking about
it did hurt. The Bible says God uses the foolish things to confound the wise.
The truth always comes out on camera as the smoke clears, which is why the league finds this whole situation so unsettling. Deion coach Prime Sanders entered an uncontrollable conflict right away. And that's what gave it a unique hit. This man was successful at every level, every stage, and wherever he went. However, the criticisms didn't target him directly as soon as the notion of Coach Prime coaching in the NFL became a reality. They targeted his children first. It wasn't a contest. Fear was that. Ryan Clark explained why this was the most painful aspect. Because Chris Carter wasn't simply another analyst. His remarks had a profound impact.
Things about Shedeur during the draft process were character, personality. All these things that we can't prove.
He was meant to be a teammate, a brother in the game, someone who recognized the hardships and sacrifices. It was clear how uneasy people were with Deion Sanders appending the system when they saw that kind of energy emanating from inside the circle. The contrast was loud at the same time. Legends like Keshawn Johnson and Michael Irvin stood tall and unhesitatingly defended Shedeur Sanders.
Back to the pre-draft process and the slanted, unfair, and biased coverage of Shedeur Sanders, whether it was his connection to his father, whether it was envy, or if it was something that he symbolized that people just didn't like, the anonymous quotes and the negativity surrounding his process was so much different from any other player. And then you think about the fact that he was drafted in the 5th round. This is a guy that had late first round to second round tape, which many of us said that day, and people behaved as if we were ignoring Cam Ward. No, we were just talking about what was directly and brightly shining.
And that was the true story. The most vocal supporters of Deion were those who did not feel intimidated by his ascent. Those who were under pressure attempted to raise the ladder behind them. This is the irony that no one anticipated. The sabotage was a total failure. Compared to half of the drafted class, Shiloh and Shedeur were more visible on social media. The hatred evolved into opinions. The uncertainty gave way to focus. Additionally, Shedeur Sanders started to receive more attention than athletes ranked higher than him. Let's fast forward to Cleveland. The long-term strategy does not include Joe Flacco. Nor is Kenny Pickett the solution.
Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are the true contenders.
Furthermore, Shedeur won't be broken by this environment given everything he has endured. He will be awakened by it. Consider the route. Everywhere he went, he encountered hostile situations, rumors, character assaults, broken offensive lines, and 6 different coordinators. Fragile players are not produced by that type of background. It produces dogs. Shedeur was unaffected by the slander effort. He became sharper as a result.
But when he was drafted in the 5th round, I said, I take what I think of him out of the picture and realize he's going to be treated like a 5th rounder. That's a 4th-string quarterback at the beginning of camp, a 3rd-string quarterback at the beginning of the year, but he wasn't covered like that. He was covered in a way that always put him in the spotlight. And there were times, I can even say on my side, I was like, man, I wish he would find a way to not give people things to talk about. But he was raised with that level of confidence. He was raised with that level of certainty. He was raised with...
It provided him with a list of names, an unbreakable chip on his shoulder, and uncoachable determination. Additionally, Ryan Clark disclosed something more profound. A unique human moment behind the ego of Coach Prime. Deion Sanders was unable to defend his sons for the first time. And the rumors weren't the only source of suffering. It was acknowledging that his own achievements might have made them targets. But hardship was the foundation of Shedeur's entire career. Every time the coordinator changed, he flourished. Every time the stage grew larger, he got better. People were unaware of how quickly he was processing the game. Because evaluators were blinded by his last name, the underappreciated arm continued to go unnoticed. The fact that Shedeur remained composed in the face of the shrieking sounds is lost in all of this. Don't panic. No outbursts in public. Just get to work. That isn't a right. That's discipline that was acquired through hardship. Resilience is respected in NFL locker rooms. Additionally, teammates' perceptions of Shedeur are altered when they learn about his struggles before he ever set foot on an NFL field.
Think about this process. It feels that Kevin Stefanski wasn't ready to draft Shedeur Sanders, and then upon drafting him, he didn't put a plan in place to handle the person. You have to understand with Shedeur Sanders is going to come more media attention, more scrutiny. He's going to be treated unlike anything else.
This is not a quick story. This is a tale of survival. Shedeur Sanders now stands in the NFL as a quarterback with more motivation than nearly any rookie in recent memory, rather than as a plot device, a meme, or just Coach Prime's kid. Rumors are no longer the true question. This is what occurs when he begins writing plays in Cleveland and demonstrates that all of the alleged character issues were untrue. Every doubt was unwarranted, and the league acknowledges that it unintentionally made up its own tale of retaliation. If you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to share it with a true football fan, leave a comment, and subscribe for more NFL news they don't want to hear. Thanks for watching my video.